Well, it's Friday, and as much as I love to say and begin a show with Good Friday to you, we'll do so again this evening, knowing that there's very little good news in tonight's forecast. With my apologies, but that indeed is life, as they say. Several headlines to speak about. And of course, a lot of eyes and a lot of concern, of course, not just on Hurricane Irma, but now it's Jose and Katia just close on the heels in an unfathomable situation. I just can't comprehend, nor I believe can anyone else, what's about to be a repeat scenario for so many. We'll talk about Florida, we'll talk about some other parts of the nation, we'll talk about what our weather is going to be as a result of all that's happening in that regard. We'll also talk about the canceling, if you will, of a special ceremony that was to be honoring a local young man with a prayer chain in the Ramey Park tomorrow. I'll also have some more, not just grim news in the weather department, but also in regards to our school systems in eastern Kentucky and how we've been talking about the unmined mineral tax now, the reassessment for days. Well, we're adding a great deal of insult to injury in that regard tonight, as some new developments in regards to an announcement by the governor today and an announcement yesterday evening that is adding a whole new spectrum of burden onto school districts. And I've got as much information as I could compile for you on that note. School superintendents and personnel are simply just looking for answers and maybe even some prayers at this point. And some other news. We've got some drug-related arrests, methamphetamine-related arrests in Sayersville, you can very well imagine, and some other news to pass along to you. Two announcements before we get to all of that, and that has to do with Founders Day, which is still not technically over. There will be no street dance in Sayersville tomorrow night, I have learned, but the parade will go on as scheduled under a beautiful day weather-wise, so no excuses. The parade will still start at 1. The lineup still, of course, at Joy Global and the McGoffin County Funeral Home, as is always. That will start at 12. They'll start shutting down streets at 12:30. Get in, get you a spot, and get ready for a beautiful day to finally wrap up Heritage Days. Founders Day is going to be rolling off my tongue forever, but Heritage Day 2017. On that note, my good friend David Blair sent me the following announcement saying that MCTV, Channel 7, where you're watching right now, some of you, will start airing the 2017 Heritage Days Baby Contest, followed by the Little Miss and Little Master. They'll start Saturday on Howard's Cable, he says. That's tomorrow at 4 o'clock, and that's for the Miss and Master. The Miss Teen will be followed, and then that will be followed by Miss McGoffin. So starting tomorrow at 4, you've got all the pageants rolling one after another on MCTV Channel 7. Also, David says that the pageants on Sunday, September the 10th, they'll start again on 4 o'clock on Sunday. I didn't read this through, as you can well imagine. So all the pageants starting at 4 o'clock tomorrow and Sunday over the course of your weekend. I could have said much simpler. Parade tomorrow, pageants on MCTV, and of course I've posted, as you may have seen, many of you have seen thousands, an edited version of Miss Teen and Miss McGoffin on my Facebook page. With that said, let's go ahead and jump right into one of our top stories this evening. Yesterday, he was with us in his capacity as McGoffin County Magistrate of District 3. Today, as the Director of Finance with the Floyd County School System. This gives him a great insight as to the situation that's facing those government entities and others. You know, we got cities, counties, schools, and all other taxing districts are all in the same boat. Some are in boats taking on a little more water because, well, they have bigger boats, so to speak, in regards to their losses in unmined mineral taxes. Floyd County. Now we're talking about school systems in specific tonight. Okay, so Floyd County school districts are dealing with about a $250 million loss in unmined mineral tax base. That is equating to about $755 in tax revenue for the school, and we're also learning tonight that that is doubled by nearly as much, $700,000 in SEEK funds, which folks on the state level are just now realizing are tied to this same reassessment in the unmined mineral tax. McGoffin County is still in a dire situation, but not to the degree of Floyd County, but you have to give that in the ratio there as far as the population. McGoffin County standing this year again to lose another $150,000 in tax revenue and several tens of thousands of dollars in SEEK funding. Knott County, if they were to take the compensating rate to try to make up for their revenue, they would have to more than double their property tax rates. The problem is that all these school districts have already planned on these taxes, on these revenues from the unmined mineral tax. This is kind of thrown at them midstream. Those numbers were already figured into the budgets that they're already working on. And all of that was discussed, as I told you earlier this week, yesterday in Frankfort, with superintendents, with senators, and several others. But so far, to no avail.
What happened during this last fiscal year is by September, each school district has to have a final working budget completed. We're actually working on 2017-18 now. When we set the budget, it's based on the tax rates that were set the prior month before, and that was based on the assessed values. It's no different than county and cities and libraries and everybody else. All taxing districts took a hit on these unmined minerals. And what happened, and based on the meeting yesterday and the explanations that we got, is that the unmined minerals had not been reassessed in many years. And it was time to be reassessed. And without going into a whole lot of jargon, the rates essentially, they determined there were no value there. Representing Floyd County schools and speaking on behalf of all the Eastern Kentucky school districts from the financial standpoint, Floyd County Schools lost $126 million worth of assessed value, which equated to $755,000 worth of available income from that tax. But the difference between schools and counties and cities and libraries and any other taxing district is that that decrease in assessment also affects state funding. It's the only taxing district that happens in. There is what's called a local effort portion that deducts from the seat base, and that's at 30 cents a hundred deduction based on the total assessment. When they reduced the amount of assessed values midstream, and the Department of Education already had the revenue certification in July, they can't change that. So the school districts essentially had a deduction on their state funding for a tax base that had disappeared. There's also some funding, and it's to assist districts that are more impoverished, and the poorer you are, the more money you get. And a lot of Eastern Kentucky districts fall into that category. It's called Tier 1 funding. Those monies are tied to assessment, because the poorer the county is, the lower the assessment, the more money they get. But that money was sitting there on the SEEK formula like we were able to tax it, like it was part of our wealth, and the districts missed out on that. Floyd County alone was over $700,000 on state funding, $755,000 on available tax revenue. So again, speaking just for the district where I work, I'm not going to speak on behalf of McGoffin County Schools, but all the scenarios are the same. They got hit by not being able to collect taxes during the year that they planned. They got hit by the state SEEK funding being decreased, and they planned to spend that money. It creates a lot of problems. I know in Knott County individually, don't mean to call them out, but their tax rates for this coming year, because of all this, has seen a significant impact, going from I think 58 cents to $1.07. I don't think their Board of Education would take that. I don't think their people can handle that. I know that couldn't happen in other districts without anybody being run out on a rail. But those are the major ones.
And with all of those concerns, school superintendents and Director of Finance personnel such as Mr. Wireman went to Frankfort yesterday. They met with state senators, the Commissioner of Education, Commissioner of Finance, representatives of the Governor's Office, and others to talk about that very situation. But they also brought everyone on the state level up to date about the other ramifications associated with this, and how this unmined mineral tax assessment or reassessment is also directly related to SEEK funding, which will see drastic cuts as well. Floyd County, for example, losing $755,000 in losses from the unmined mineral tax, but it also stands to lose $700,000 in SEEK funding that they were already expecting to be in their account.
Basically what they said yesterday was when these reassessments went through, they wasn't aware or didn't really see the impact beyond the loss of tax revenue for all the taxing districts. They wasn't aware that it was going to hit SEEK like this. That's the state funding SEEK. And with the school districts down there, they were sympathetic to our pleas. A lot of the members of the legislature were there. And after the meeting, I spoke personally with the Secretary of Finance and the Commissioner of the Revenue Department to give them a little further information about the impact. But there's nothing that can be done without legislative action, and I think the legislators all know that. And without some kind of tax reform to change the way the system is, it's kind of an outdated system. When the economy's good, our property tax system works pretty well. But when the economy takes a downturn, the exact opposite happens. It's really, really not a good system.
And it gets much, much, much worse, even since just yesterday when I did that interview with Mr. Wireman. In the past 24 hours, there are new cuts to speak of. And I don't think that there is anyone who can argue that local governments, school systems, and the like are all right now at this very minute feeling the very full impact of what you can call the war on coal that started several years ago, the declined economy, what have you. It appears as though we're reaching rock bottom. Here's what I'm talking about. Governor Bevin just announced today that he is proposing cuts in spending across the board by 17.4%. And tonight we'll talk only about how that directly affects the Department of Education. That would equal $69 million in cuts for the Department of Education that they'll have to spread out over Kentucky schools on top of what Kentucky schools are already facing. Another nearly $70 million. And just yesterday, school systems also learned that in order to support the county employment retirement system for not just school but all other county employees, that schools will have to up their retirement contributions by 50% in 2018 and 2019. For Floyd County schools, that would mean another $836,000 they'll have to come up with next year. Superintendent Scott Helton in Magoffin County says that for our school district here in Magoffin, that would equal another $329,000 that they already have no idea where they're going to get it. So we'll be talking more about that later and more headlines in just a few moments. Right now, before we go any further, a few words from a few of our sponsors, including your Stagersville Lee's Famous Recipe, where tomorrow is the day for hot wings. That's right, get our famous hot and spicy wings by the 20s. Not $9.55 at the regular rate, $6.19 for 20 hot and spicy wings. And get as many as you want at your Sagersville Lee's. It's only tomorrow. They're only the best hot and spicy wings around, and they're only $6.19, reduced from $9.55. Tomorrow and tomorrow only at your Sagersville Lee's Famous Recipe. Fall and its colors have burst onto the scene at the seasonal shop in downtown Sagersville. Kids' mud pie styles and designs have just arrived with even more on the way. Little Fashion's excellent for fall, Halloween, and Thanksgiving. And of course, they've got the sweetest of accessories. And ladies' fashions are here, and there's more coming in daily. Amazing sweaters and Carter coats, this fall's must-have item. Dresses, boots, and more on the way. There's just nothing like what you'll find at the seasonal shop in downtown Sagersville, just down from Fraser's Prater Drugstore and the Radio Shack.
Home energy use is on the rise. Every year, new devices, more devices. We are using more energy. Simple Saver helps you trim peak energy usage and pays you for being energy smart. You can receive up to $50 in annual bill credits. Over the years, the savings really add up with Kentucky's Touchstone Energy Cooperative's Simple Saver. Licking Valley RECC, your Touchstone Energy Cooperative.
Beat weather to the punch right now at Conley Tire and get $50 back when you buy 4 new BF Goodrich car or light truck tires until September the 12th, and $70 when you buy 4 new Michelins by September the 17th, and take the stress out of buying with 6 months to pay and no interest. Cheaper, better, safer. Conley Tire in Staffordsville.
Hi, I'm attorney Jeff Lovely. When hiring an attorney, experience does matter. For over 20 years, I've been representing clients throughout Eastern Kentucky. We are a full-service law firm, representing clients who've been injured in car accidents or at work, representing clients who need to file bankruptcy, representing clients who've been charged with a crime. For all your legal needs, contact my office when it matters. We have 2 locations for your convenience. In Sayersville at 349-4522 and West Liberty at 743-1965.
Parkway Pharmacy, now open earlier from 8 a.m. until 6 in the evening to better suit your schedule and lifestyle, and to help you get better and live a healthier life. And if allergies are bogging you down, they're armed with the very best in over-the-counter relief for adults and your children. Reach owner pharmacist Jesse Rudd and his assistant pharmacist Megan Castle and their staff at 8 o'clock in the mornings or at 349-4400. To local news in just a second, but it was an announcement that has shocked the country music world, Kentucky fans, and those around the nation. Half of Montgomery Gentry killed in a helicopter crash just earlier today. Yeah, first came word of a concert cancellation. That was quickly followed by an announcement officially on the band's website, announcing that Troy Gentry had died in a helicopter crash in New Jersey. The FAA had already determined that it crashed into a wooded area near the Flying W Airport that was near the town of Medford. There were 2 people killed, including the pilot. Gentry was born back in '67, of course, a native of Kentucky, born in the Lexington area, and he and Eddie Montgomery formed Montgomery Gentry in 1999, filling the airwaves with Southern rock influences, working with the likes of Charlie Daniels, Toby Keith, the Allman Brothers. Oh gosh, the list does indeed go on. They released 6 studio albums on Columbia Records. They had more than 20 chart singles. They had a long list of accolades and awards. And today we're hearing of the passing of Troy Gentry. He was 50 years old. The cause of the crash is still under investigation and yet to be released as the world awaits answers as to the lost, beloved star of country music.
That old man right there in the rocking chair at the courthouse square, I'll tell you now, he could buy your fancy car with $100 bills. Don't let those faded overalls fool you.
2 methamphetamine drug-related arrests to pass along to you tonight, happening after a traffic stop last night here in Sayersville. Sayersville PD officer Mike Nichols made a traffic stop on a vehicle for expired tags. 2 passengers, unbeknownst to the driver, had been smoking and were in possession of crystal meth. Nichols notes in his arrest citation that upon making the traffic stop and questioning the driver, a passenger was acting suspicious and was determined to have a meth pipe in her possession and was actually trying to stuff it. She was a passenger in the back seat and was trying to stuff it into the panel or the pouch in the back of the front passenger seat, if you will. When he asked her to exit the vehicle upon running her identification, he realized she had 2 warrants out of Pike County, one for a parole violation. I'm not sure what the other one is, but Cassandra Turner of Georgetown was charged with possession of a controlled substance in the 1st degree for the drug believed to be methamphetamine. It's still being tested, public intoxication, and possession of drug paraphernalia. Her sister was also in the vehicle as a passenger and was found to be in possession of needles, a spoon covered with drug residue, believed to be meth or something of that nature, and also admitted, as well as did Turner, to smoking meth with her sister. She also, after being lodged into the Big Sandy Regional Detention Center, was found to have had needles and other possible drug paraphernalia in her bra and is more than likely facing charges in the Johnson County area for that. She's identified as Mary Gillespie, 36 years of age, from Shelbyana, who was charged with possession of a controlled substance in the 1st, possession in the 3rd, and public intoxication. The entire arrest remains under investigation by Officer Nichols, who said that the driver was merely transporting them and he believed that she was not included in or aware of the situation of them being in possession of the drugs and paraphernalia or being under the influence at the time, and was not charged. And also in local announcements tonight, sadly, I have to make the following announcement in regards to one that we mentioned yesterday. It was just on last night's program that I had announced that friends of 21-year-old Brian Jordan had set a prayer chain in his honor for tomorrow afternoon in the Ramey Park. 21-year-old Brian Jordan was seriously injured in a car crash on Route 40 about 3 miles out of Sagersville on the night of the 27th. It was a single-car collision in which his car left the roadway, struck a utility pole, and went over an embankment. He was taken to an area hospital and ultimately transferred from there onto another trauma facility where he's been in critical condition basically ever since. And as we've updated you on his condition on a couple of different occasions, his condition had worsened over the past several days. We were confirmed of his situation earlier today, not necessarily of his passing, but as his giving. His family made an official statement publicly earlier today saying that as of Wednesday of this week, doctors had declared young Brian gone, but per his wishes, his family has been working with the Kentucky Organ Donor Program. And in the words of his family, his unselfishness in that manner is going to bless another or other families. They wish to thank everyone for their support and ask for continued prayers at this time. I've spoken with local funeral homes. No services have been set in his honor, but they are to be at a later date. And at a later date, we hope to talk about this young man whose unselfishness, as his mother put it, is going to save another life or lives. Brian Jordan, 21. Wanting you to have a healthier life means providing access to quality, affordable health care. And to do exactly that, Hope Family Medical Center offers full dental care with Dr. Pratt and his team, a pediatrician team of 3 doctors and nurses and moms, complete health care by family physician Dr. Kelly Pratt and nurse practitioners Mildred Sizemore, Gail Faria, Shannon Conley, and Heather Blair. Behavioral health services with Kimberly Davis, with in-house lab testing and results, in-house x-ray and pharmacy, and all the caring, knowledge, and experience that these medical professionals represent
at Hope Family Medical Center.
Here's a new list of specials at Gateway. This Chevy Intervan runs great, cold AC, $49.90. This 2015 Commander 500 Camo ATV just traded for 72 miles. As new, save thousands. And a pair of RAV4s. This 2010 all-wheel drive, excellent price and payment. And this 05 RAV4 all-wheel drive, $5,900 or best offer. This 06 Crew Cab is a 4x4 and thousands below book at just $10,900. And most payments under $200 a month at Gateway Motors in Sagersville.
Oh, the sun shines bright on my old Kentucky home.
The sun bathes us in the power of its warm glow and brightens our world. Now it can power your life. Cooperative Solar brings you hassle-free solar power from your local Kentucky Touchstone Energy Cooperative. Renewable, affordable, easy. Licking Valley RECC's Cooperative Solar. Join the community, cooperativesolar.com.
I'm attorney Don McFarland. We all know that times are hard. Jobs are scarce. Most people that I know are struggling to support their families and make it through each day. Now imagine that you get seriously hurt while working on the job, and the insurance company for your employer refuses to pay wages and benefits while you are injured and cannot afford to pay medical expenses, household bills, and put food on the table to support your family. I can help. If you are being wrongfully denied workers' compensation benefits that you rightfully deserve, then give me a call and let me go to work for you. 349-9000.
There's no better time than now to get the Android smartphone of your choice from Appalachian Wireless. All Androids up to $50 off regular price all this month. The Samsung GS8 was $149.99, now just $99.99. The LG G6, normally $99.99, is now only $49.99. And believe it or not, you can get the Galaxy S7 for only $1 with 2-year agreement while supplies last. Better service, bigger savings. That's today's Appalachian Wireless, an East Kentucky network company.
Here's your community calendar announcements brought to you by McGoffin Farm Bureau and some other information to follow. This just in from the Harold Whitaker Middle School. They have a regular session of their site-based council set for Tuesday the 12th, 5 o'clock in the school's conference room. Their regular monthly meetings are scheduled for the second Tuesday of each month. These meetings, of course, open to the public. This next one, Tuesday at 5 at the Harold Whitaker Middle School for the next site-based meeting. Don't forget, a reminder one more time, the Masonic Lodge of Sagersville graciously accepting donations for their Coats for Kids program. Don't donate later. They need them now so they can get those coats and shoes in for our kids by the time winter arrives. You can drop a check in the mail to Sagersville Masonic Lodge, P.O. Box 936, or call our friend Paul Montgomery at 424-6302. He'll gladly help in getting your support to where it needs to go. Our next McGoffin County Community Blood Drive has been set for Wednesday the 20th. I'll remind you a little bit later, but mark it down in case you want to donate and save someone's life, maybe someone you love even. Wednesday the 20th, 1 to 5 at the Sagersville IGA. Kentucky Blood Center Blood Mobile will be there, and they hope that you will be there too. And we hope you use our community calendar every time you want to wish someone a happy birthday or happy anniversary, or let everyone know what your church, group, nonprofit, club, organization, whatever it is, whatever they have going on, so we can tell them. All you got to do is tell me. Turning to obituaries brought to you by the McGoffin County Funeral Home, 60-year-old William Paul Wimp Whitaker of Kelly Branch passed away on the 7th earlier this week. The son of the late Dave Whitaker and Jacqueline Arnott, he survived by a daughter, Rosanna Poe, and his companion, Donna Shepard. Visitation is going to start after 6 o'clock tomorrow, continue all day Sunday, and up until services that are going to begin in his honor on Monday afternoon at 1 o'clock, all from the McGoffin County Funeral Home, with burial afterwards at the Whitaker Cemetery at Kelly Branch. Yes, that's a 68 with an awesome 302, an updated 5-speed, over $6,000 in just recent restoration receipts, all with only about 70,000 miles. It's only at Broadway Auto Sales in Paintsville. And this 07 Expedition Eddie Bauer, and this 2011 Nissan Altima, and this super sporty 07 Colorado are all drastically cut to sell quick. Come check them out at Broadway Auto Sales in Paintsville. The only difference in these washers and mowers from new is the incredible low price, and the same goes for tools, electronics, jewelry, games, and more at Parkway Gun and Pawn, where they buy and sell gold and silver and loan cash every day on just about anything worth $1. Stop by on Parkway Drive or call 349-PAWN. Much more than diesel specialist, Black Smoke Performance is turning out excellent auto body collision paint and repair results with free quotes and estimates on everything from insurance jobs to that ding you got in the driveway, custom lift kits, bed liners, winches, and accessories, and full diagnostics and repair on anything gas or diesel, from brakes to fluid changes to major auto repair. If you want it fixed, lifted, painted, customized, or just maintained, just call on the team at Black Smoke Performance in Dixie of Sagersville, 100 May Drive, or 349-8785. They're rolling out big, beautiful truck bodies every day, the best America makes in steel and aluminum, with their largest ever local stock of angle, sheet, round, I-beam, expanded, steel, and aluminum in several different finishes for whatever you're working on. And if the dump body you're driving needs parts, they've got them in stock. And if you need a big project fabricated from scratch, they've got you covered at Logan in Salyersville since 1904. It's an unprecedented scenario, and one that I just simply can't comprehend. Already devastated, for example, by Hurricane Irma, the Caribbean islands are now bracing for another deadly storm system. Hurricane Jose prepares to make landfall there. The United States is bracing for Irma. We here in eastern Kentucky are waiting to see what all of this is going to do with our weather, and still a great deal of unanswered questions. First, there's Irma, getting ready to bear down on Florida. Expected landfall sometime Sunday around 1 or 2 o'clock with the southern tip of Florida around Miami, possibly a little earlier that morning. Nevertheless, the storm right now has backed off to a Category 4, but it's at the very top of the Category 4 level. Still 155 mile per hour winds, still expected to possibly go back to a Cat 5 status before it hits Florida. Moving west at about 12 miles per hour. And that westerly shift that we spoke of late last night Well, you can see what it's done. Now going all the way basically up the spine of Florida, if you will, and then moving right on to the north. Maybe not so much hitting South Carolina, but definitely into Georgia and on through Tennessee. You can see Alabama, Kentucky, all will be in the mix of whatever's left at that point after it has wreaked havoc and basically destroyed what will be a great deal of structures, lives even, in Florida. And on Irma's heels, a now Category 4 Jose, following a very similar path. The National Hurricane Center says that Jose, around 400 miles east-southeast of the northern Leeward Islands, which Irma already hit earlier this week, moving at 18 miles per hour, 50-mile-per-hour sustained winds at last update. Hurricane watch is in effect for Antigua, Barbuda, Anguilla, St. Martin. The list goes on. Those islands already counted 12 of the deaths related to 23 associated to Irma. And they're going to get hit again. And then there's Katia, that I'm not even going to show you right now, Category 2 and edging toward Category 3 status. And at last report, about 150 miles from Tampico, Mexico. Simply unimaginable. And here we are, sitting quite nicely for the weekend. We will see some after effects of at least Irma early next week. But for tonight, 50, patchy fog, mostly clear. For your weekend, 70, following some fog in the morning, 48 for nighttime lows, clear skies across the board, sunny and clear. And for your Sunday as well, a beautiful end to your weekend after a beautiful start to it, 72 and 51, sunny, mostly clear. I suspect it'll still be sunny when I see you back here Monday evening, 68 on the downhill side of a sunny day, and 56. Late Monday night, we'll see some showers start to roll in, mainly after 11. That could be the onset of a few inches, maybe several inches. We'll have to wait and see. Temperatures floating right around 67, 69 degrees through much of early next week, with showers possibly Tuesday and Wednesday. But it's all a wait and see on what Irma has to say. That will wrap it up for this Friday. Thank you, as always, for being here. Remember, the parade in Sagersville for Heritage Days is tomorrow, beginning at 1 o'clock. It's going to be a beautiful weekend. We hope you can enjoy it. We hope that you can also keep all of those who will not be, for a variety of reasons, as I've covered in this program, in your thoughts and prayers. And we hope to see you back here next Monday for more of Your News Today. Good night, and thanks for watching.